Hey, what's up, YouTube? Well, it is Monday, and believe it or not, Monday was named after the moon, and guess what? Has become full again. I can't wait to post those pictures somehow. I don't know if I'll put them on this video, but I might make a separate video about that. But there is a full moon, and the only thing that's a serious problem is that, the minute I go outside and start taking pictures of the moon, we have to have cloud cover somehow. You know, it can be otherwise clear, but, because I want to take pictures of the moon, we're always having cloud cover, okay? So I did the best I could to take a few good pictures of the moon, and I think they came out alright. Um, anyway, so enough about the pink moon. I've been wanting to make a video just because I love making videos, but I'm sort of running dry on ideas, and that's actually a good thing. Okay? Um, I don't have a lot to talk about for the simple reason that the subject I've been harping on for over a year is really getting old. Like, what more can I really say about it? I could probably write a book about it and still find things that I forgot to say, or find ways to say it that I forgot to use. You know what I'm saying? Words I didn't use to talk about it, but otherwise I've pretty much said all that can be said about that subject matter. And I'm really tired of talking about the same things all the time. Okay? So basically, I want to title this video Love Not the World. Okay? And it comes from a verse which is 1 John 2:15. Love not the world, neither the things in it. For if any man loveth the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Something like that. And I think that's the KJV, but, other versions pretty much agree. Love not the world nor the things in it. And that if you love the world, the love of the Father is not in you. Okay? Well, obviously, I'm not a devout Christian. Like, I'm technically Baptist, or we're technically Baptist, but obviously we're pretty backslidden. Okay? And what I want to talk about is how, that verse right there, I'm not exactly sure, I guess the interpretation could mean a lot of things. But, I spent a lot of years listening to Pastor Steven Anderson, aka Pissing Pastor, at Faithful Word Baptist in Tempe, Arizona, from about 2008 for like at least 10 years, or well, almost 10 years, from then to about 2015 or so. I would listen to his sermons, whenever I got the chance. Not every sermon, but most of them. And although I don't want my life to be anything like his or his family's life, I did find a lot in his sermons that was, very good advice. And, if you really wanted to follow the scriptures, a lot of his sermons would help you do that. Okay? And one thing I always admired about Pastor Anderson was his resentment for TV, Hollywood, and pretty much everything pertaining to it. He was the other end of the spectrum from these celebrity worshippers and fanboys that I've been talking about. People that'll pick a celebrity that they have a crush on, and it's almost like that celebrity could do no wrong. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that they could ever find out about that celebrity that would make them not like that celebrity anymore. Okay? And Pastor Anderson, a lot of times it's gay men. Okay, Pastor Anderson is at the other end of the spectrum. Okay, he despises the whole Hollywood culture and, thinks homosexuality is wrong and that evolution is incorrect. It's not just a sin to believe in it, it's basically incorrect. It is scientifically incorrect. And I agree. I believe that, it's just not possible that we evolved from a microorganism. and then at some point we were apes, and then somehow we evolved into humans. And I also don't believe the Big Bang Theory, and it's not because I think I'm going to go to hell if I believe that. It's because I think it's scientifically wrong. Okay, it's incorrect. It's scientifically inaccurate. Okay, so I just really enjoyed listening to Pastor Anderson, but then he deleted his YouTube or something, and I'm not exactly sure, how to go about finding the sermons now, but I'd really love to hear him do a sermon on the Rugrats reboot, or Rugrats in general. He hated on a lot of actors, actresses, TV shows, movies, etc., musicians, bands, you name it, and he's probably hated on something of that genre, okay? And he did have a lot of negative things to say about cartoons in general, but he, as far as I know, has never mentioned the Rugrats specifically. Okay, he has never named them, probably because he'd rather you believe he's never heard of them, as ridiculous as that may be. I mean, yes, he's 2 years older than I am, but come on, people, you couldn't help but know about him. Basically, there was a time when I would look at my little sister and we'd see something with Rugrats on it at the store, and I'd be like, you can't get away from them. So basically, what I want to talk about is that verse, love not the world, nor the things in it. And what that means, or what it's interpreted to mean, is that there are just certain things that are worldly, so to speak. They're non-Christian, and, well, the Rugrats didn't even pretend to be Christian. And they're just not something that a Christian should really define themselves as liking. You know what I'm saying? And that even includes sports. So yeah, it's like, I mean, today I'm wearing a real tree shirt. I'm not exactly sure, that's what an ideal Baptist girl would wear. But, and I also feel a little self-conscious about my hair being too short, but at least it's growing out a little. But there's just certain things, and Rugrats is definitely on that list, that you really shouldn't even admit to liking or enjoying, let alone wear on your clothing. So that's what I'd like to talk about, is how even if it were the case, like I've stated before, that people want to be apologists for this show and say that Angelica would never crap her pants and that neither would Chucky and Susie and all that. Even if it were the case, like, let's pretend for a moment that let's say they would have ended the series before that third movie that I'm obsessed with. Okay? Or, let's just say season 7. Since the number 7 is the number of completion. And that's another thing you learn from the Bible, and that I learned from Pastor Anderson, is that 7 is a number with the symbolic meaning of completion. And one thing that people never took note of, except for me, it escaped everyone's notice but mine, was the fact that in that Rugrats movie, okay, there were 6 smells on the Odorama card. Not that I ever had one, okay, but I just happen to know that. I've seen pictures of them. There were 6 smells, okay? And not a single one of them was the poop smell. Okay, now guess what the number of completion happens to be? Okay, so there were 6 smells, and the 7th one should have been the poop smell. Should have had a poop symbol. And the other thing that I feel went unnoticed was the fact that all throughout the movie, Angelica was wearing mismatched hair bows. Okay, she was wearing a blue and white sailor dress with hot pink or red bows in her hair all throughout the movie. Okay, and not that there's anything wrong with wearing hair bows that don't match your clothing. Okay, that's not a big deal. But At the very end, when she changed into her bathing suit, that very last scene, she was finally in something that matched the bows in her hair. How profound is that? Okay? Her bathing suit just so happened to match the bows in her hair after she got changed. And the other thing is, if you take Susie out of the equation, you have 6 Rugrats besides Angelica. So 6 characters younger than her. And they all crapped their pants. You know, contrary to what anyone might want to say to contradict this, I don't care. But the truth is that they all did. Okay? Well, keep in mind, like I said, the number 7 represents completion. So it was almost like, you know, now they had 7 Rugrats who had definitely crapped their pants at some point. And of course, there could be more than that. You know, it's just, you know, I think it's profound. Other people think I'm weird, but oh well. That's why I don't allow comments. And the other thing, you know, that I'm probably the only one that's ever noticed, you know, not that she necessarily didn't crap her pants on other occasions, but, you know, there was this kid in her class named Willie in preschool days. And on his shirt was the number 8. And there was, you know, in the 4 episodes of Preschool Days, there was an incident. Well, there was a wedding accident and what I consider a pooping accident in another episode. And he had the number 8 on his shirt. So in my mind, that means he was the 8th Rugrats child character to poop his pants. Oh my gosh. And even like the Tales from the Crib, I want to say like the second one with Harold has him peeing in his pants when he laughed. But most people didn't notice that either. So anyway, I just, you know, even if the show, like I say, did not have all that disgusting content that I've described before, even if it would be the case that that at least 3 of the kids were potty trained, it would still be a worldly show, and the Bible would still condemn any wearing of that show or others like it on my clothing. You know, like I say, like I've stated before, you know, I don't want a Simpsons shirt just because Bart and Lisa are potty trained. You know, and Bart rhymes with fart, so it's almost like a cross between barf and fart. You could make the T into an F and you have barf, or you could make the B into an F and you'd have fart. So I really don't want anything with the Simpsons on it. Okay, and Pastor Anderson has preached against them. So, you know, and just, you know, basically I just wouldn't wear it, you know, for the simple reason that, even if I totally love that show and others like it, you know, the mere fact that it would, that there's a lot of Christian people that don't like it, and I have a lot of Christian friends, okay, means that I would no longer be in good standing with them if I wore such things. You know what I'm saying? Like if I wore a Rugrats shirt, you know, how do you think the Christian ladies would feel about me, knowing that they didn't allow their kids to watch it? You know what I'm saying? I had an art teacher who was a pretty open-minded person in high school, but we had to do a project where we drew a cartoon character on a poster, and some kids asked if they could do a Rugrats character, and her answer was, yes you can, although I don't let my kids watch the show. Okay, so it was basically like saying, no, I don't like them, but yes, you can do that for your project. And only 1 or 2 people did a Rugrats character. And I, of course, didn't. Because, you know, even if I would have enjoyed doing such a project, and I might have still gotten a good grade, the mere fact that it would have made her unhappy to see such a thing was reason enough for me not to do it. So, anyway, that's the way I feel about, you know, Rugrats shirts and, of course, I would never get a tattoo of anything because Leviticus 19:28 is, I think, the verse that says not to get tattoos, but not that I wanted one. But, so yeah, I lose respect for someone when they wear Rugrats anything. And, you know, it's just a worldly show. It promotes things that I don't agree with, you know. and I really just don't like it. I especially don't like the effeminacy of the male characters, just like on Odd Parents. I don't like seeing Phil and Lil look almost identical, and I don't like the way they refuse to cut Chucky's hair in all but one episode. I've always thought that his short haircut should have been his usual look. But I just, it just promotes things, and especially now that they're going to change, even more things to make it even more in conflict with what the right wants to believe. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make Betty into a proud lesbian or something like that, as opposed to just a woman that pretended not to be and was married to a kind of feminine guy or effeminate guy. So, that's even worse. So I'd really love to hear Pastor Anderson preach against that show, because I would respect his opinion a lot more than that of these little fanboys.